be young and in love in New York City. Do not know who I am, but still know that I'm good long as you're here with me. To be drunk and in love in New York City. Midnight into morning coffee.
So, as you're going into this next year, you may be feeling like a little stressed out. And before you even start watching this video, you should really take like a step back and really respect what we're asking of you, because you're being asked to be the head of this really, really cool group of people. And although it may seem scary at first, you should be really, really proud, because honestly, there's no other group in the world like these guys. You're all really, really talented, and you're all going for some giant task in like a very short amount of time. And you're not going to even understand it maybe as an editor next year, but when you're all done next year and you see how much you've completed and what it meant to the entire school of 5,000 kids and your national recognition that you're making an incredible book, it's all going to be worth your while. So before you even start this video, just be really proud of yourself that you're doing amazing things, and we only would ask you to be on this staff if we felt that you were totally responsible and can totally handle this upcoming year.
My goals for next year is to improve what we worked on this year in the book and make sure that I improve in my design skills altogether. If I'm able to help a lot of the noobs improve in theirs as well, then I'll be doing what I set out to do.
There's like somewhat of a lack of communication between the editors and the staff at times, where like the staff would be slightly more unaware of deadlines, and also some of the deadlines were a little, I guess, hard to manage for a staff, and so we need to do a better job of like making sure these deadlines are ones that people could actually make.
Okay, this year I feel that there was some inconsistency between co-editors, which caused a lot of confusion. I also think that we can, instead of having such a stressful environment all the time, we can just relax and understand that we can all have fun.
I think communication can improve next year if all the maestros have group chats as soon as the conferences happen, because that way everyone's up to date on what's going on, and it's much harder to forget your deadlines when you're being reminded by and being held accountable by your editors and your maestro members. And then additionally, I think that everyone needs to remember that like no one's going to judge you if you don't know how to do something, or even if you really, really can't do something. But it's better to be upfront and say, hey, I need some help with this, than have your maestro team depending on you and then you let them down on deadline day.
An ideal relationship between staff members and editors would probably be something along the lines of like, information is portrayed or given both ways very fluently and very often, and an editor should do their best job to make sure that the staff member or staff members are not under stress or extreme stress because of the short deadlines. And I feel like there should just be a lot of communication going back and forth.
Yeah, I think people just need to know how to lead and how to work with other people, because you're going to learn things along the way. You're going to learn how to do all the things that come with spreads, and everything's different from year to year, and you have to know that. You have to know the intricacies of your theme and your design elements, so everything's different. But the one thing you need to know every year, no matter what you're doing, is how to work with people, how to motivate them, and how to make sure that they want to get the most out of their experience on staff.
So obviously as upperclassmen, veterans and editors especially have like the upper hand when it comes to feeling comfortable in the room. So just to do whatever they can to make the noobs feel comfortable, whether that's like communicating with them, talking with them about deadlines, being open to talk with them about like whatever personal stuff, like just being a good friend to the noobs and a good mentor to them to help them open up and feel welcome.
I think communication between editors can be better if we have more editor meetings next year. I mean, all of us obviously care about the book a lot and we put a lot of time and effort into it, but I felt like we didn't have that many meetings. And with more meetings, we can just make sure everyone's on the same page, which will result in less work for everyone in general.
See, I think leading a group this big really just means motivating people and inspiring them to do something great. Because one of the things I really focus on is not taking things too much into my own hands, because one of the things people love the most is seeing their own work in the yearbook. So I think probably the thing you have to focus on most is that there's going to be things you don't like, things you aren't happy with sometimes, but you have to work with people and help them improve. You can't just take over, because when you do that, people lose the motivation, they lose their inspiration because they don't feel like they're contributing.
So what Larry expects from you is that you put 110% into your work and you do what is asked of you. However, she's a super fun teacher. It's a great relationship to make with a teacher. It's natural and it's really fun. It's a great place to be. But if you do your work, she always says that you're gonna get an A, but if you don't do your work, it is not a slack off class, so don't take it as that.
So another really important part of staff is the communication that you're going to go through. And that involves everyone from having good relationships with the noobs and also with editors to editors. So a book is only successful when people are talking and expressing their ideas. And I feel like that's something we really kind of lacked this year. We had a lot of really talented editors just not speak up their opinion. And for a successful book and a creative book to happen, everyone needs to be giving their own ideas and sharing their own opinion on the book. And whether it's what the group decides on in general, it's just important that people are talking to each other and they're on their same page, because that's how you're going to meet your deadlines.
So, like, a lot of people think that maybe you need to know coding and other things for the website, but really the hardest part compared to, like, other editors is, like, managing all the small details, like making sure the website's always updated so, like, there are no glitches, making sure the website looks good on phones, making sure, like, you're putting up proper content at proper times. It is easier than other editors sections because of you don't have, like, actual spreads and stuff to grade, but for, like, web, you have to, like, stay on top of it just so, like, the website doesn't, like, malfunction or something.
So in order for staff to be successful, EICs need to be present during like all the class periods so that they can get to know everyone and available to be or to communicate with others or to receive communication from others. They also need to go through like and really meticulously edit all of the spreads to make sure that everything is up to like a really high standard, and just being a leader and doing that every day.
Yeah, so basically as editor-in-chief, I'm kind of the final eyes that look at spreads. So basically over the summer I help make the theme, work with everyone, kind of lead everyone through that. And by the time the year starts, it's really just our job as an editorial staff to get everyone up to speed on everything that's going on, teach them the theme and what we're kind of expecting and what we want this year. And throughout the year, all the section editors, they're editing the spreads, they're going really in depth with them. And by the time they get to me, they should be pretty much polished.
Next year, and every year really, my goal for the editors is to foster a team that has strong leadership, that is giving of their time for the benefit of others and for the program that they've signed up to be a leading part of, and also just a willingness to communicate well with others. So every role has different expectations, different responsibilities, different challenges. But at the end of the day, if we're a group of 10 to 15 people who can be counted on and trusted and who will work hard to make the best thing possible, then we're in good shape.
Perfect.
See, I think it's a big time commitment, but one of the things you learn most as an editor is how to manage your time. So it really becomes a lot easier because you have this schedule and you have lots of things to do, lots of spreads to get done. It all kind of depends depending on where you are in the year, but you do learn how to manage your time. So by the end of the year and maybe even by midway through the year, it's really not that bad. It's one of the biggest things you will learn. Go ahead, Amir.
Every year's a little bit different because certain theme decisions will require different levels of dedication. But what I tell, especially parents who are concerned about the time that their kids may be giving, is if you are willing to focus and give your time without interruption during class, maybe come in before school every now and then, and maybe stay after school every now and then generally you'll be okay. But if you find yourself getting distracted or wanting to socialize, I'm not going to stop you from those things because that's a part of the experience. But you will find yourself with more work to do at home, and I'm always surprised when students say, well, I was up until midnight. Why? I wasn't up until midnight, so why were you up until midnight? If you manage your time well, if you are responsible, if you take the job seriously, yes, it is more work, but it is not an unmanageably difficult load.
So every staff is just a little different, and you're going to recognize that within the first month of next year. And it's all a different challenge, but it's all the same game. So you all have the same goal as you've had every year. You have the same skills, the same tools, and every year is just a little bit unique. And that's what kind of makes the yearbook staff so special in a way, because you're learning how, when you mesh a bunch of skills and personalities together, how to work in a giant group to get a giant task completed. And although some years may be quote unquote better than other years, it's the role of the editors to make every year successful in both having good relationships with the staff members and having a successful book.